Born in a quiet Hungarian town, often forgotten by scouts and ignored by top clubs, Dominik Szoboszlai's rise is anything but ordinary. He wasn't born into football royalty. He wasn't groomed in elite academies or handed opportunities. Instead, he built his future on rejection, on being underestimated, and on a belief that he could prove them all wrong. Today, he orchestrates the midfield for Liverpool, one of the most prestigious football clubs in the world. But this isn't just a tale about raw talent, it's a story of grit, setbacks, and relentless willpower. Dominik's journey started in Székesfehérvár, Hungary, a place more famous for its medieval fortresses than future football stars. Even as a young kid, something was different about him. He had this natural connection with the ball, the way he dribbled, the control he had, the decisions he made. It all felt beyond his age. Coaches took notice, so did older players. But in Hungary, dazzling skills weren't enough. There were doubts. Could this boy stay focused? Was he serious about a career? Or was he just another street footballer with big dreams that would fade? As he began rising through the youth ranks, the buzz around him grew. But so did the skepticism. Some coaches applauded his flair and technical brilliance, but questioned whether he had the attitude to evolve into a complete professional. Scouts loved his potential, but whispered concerns about his temperament. Even the local press was divided. One headline read, "Yes, he's special, but will he mature?" At just 16 years old, Dominik made a decision that would change everything. He left his home country to join the Red Bull Salzburg Academy in Austria. It was a massive gamble. He left behind his friends, family, and everything familiar. Some called the move bold. Others thought it was reckless. Too much, too soon, many said. He wasn't even old enough to drive, but he was betting his future on football. Landing in Salzburg, he faced obstacles that had nothing to do with the ball. He didn't speak the language. He didn't understand the culture. At times, he felt completely alone. Birthdays passed without celebration. Holidays were spent away from loved ones. And at night, in the silence of his dorm room, the doubt would creep in. He once shared, "Some nights I'd call my mom and say, 'I'm exhausted, I just want to come home.' But quitting was never an option. He hadn't sacrificed everything to turn back. Every lonely night became a lesson in resilience. Every early morning and every late training session became fuel for his drive. He committed not just to the game, but to the grind. Red Bull Salzburg had everything: top-tier facilities, world-class coaches, and intense competition. Dominik knew he had talent, but at Salzburg everyone did. It wasn't enough to just be good. He had to outwork, outthink, and outgrow his peers. There were moments he looked average. Sometimes he was beaten, sometimes he was benched, but he refused to be forgotten. He doubled his efforts. He stayed longer on the pitch. He absorbed feedback, learned from mistakes, and slowly he began to stand out again. His rise wasn't explosive, it was steady. His coaches began challenging him, playing him deeper, demanding more discipline, more tracking, smarter positioning. He wasn't just the flashy kid anymore. He was becoming a complete midfielder, and as his game matured, so did his influence on the pitch. Then came the goals, the assists, the free kicks that curled like poetry. Suddenly, Salzburg fans whispered his name the same way they once did with Erling Haaland and Sadio Mane. There was electricity around him. You could feel it. A star wasn't just being born, he was building himself. In 2021, his next challenge arrived. RB Leipzig, Salzburg's Bundesliga sister club, offered the next step. It was a huge leap. The German league was faster, tougher, more tactical. It would test every part of his game and his mentality. Dominik accepted, but just as he started to adapt, disaster struck. A groin injury sidelined him for months. The timing couldn't have been worse. He was on the brink of making his Bundesliga mark, and suddenly he was watching from the stands. Critics re-emerged. He peaked too early. He's injury prone. He won't make it at this level. The doubt returned louder than ever. But Dominik didn't respond with words. He responded with work. Rehab became his new training ground. While others questioned, he studied. He watched every match, learned every system, analyzed every movement. He sharpened his understanding of the game while healing his body, and when he came back, he was transformed. Faster, stronger, more intelligent. He no longer played to prove people wrong, he played to lead. His vision, energy, and maturity turned heads across Europe. Scouts took notice, so did clubs. Liverpool was watching. And then, the call came. In the summer of 2023, Liverpool Football Club, one of England's most iconic institutions, made a move that raised eyebrows across Europe. They activated Dominik Szoboszlai's £60 million release clause, bringing the Hungarian star to Anfield. For some, it was a bold and exciting investment. For others, it was a gamble. The Premier League isn't just another step up, it's a different universe. It's faster, more physical, and relentless in its demands. Many wondered if Szoboszlai's flair and technique would survive in Jurgen Klopp's famously high-octane, pressing-heavy system. Could he adapt to the chaos and rhythm of English football? Could he hold his own in a midfield engine room known for aggression, stamina, and tactical discipline? Dominik wasted no time answering those questions. From his very first outings in a Liverpool shirt, he displayed composure, clarity, and confidence beyond his years. He moved like he belonged, handled pressure like a seasoned veteran, and found space in crowded midfields as if the game slowed down just for him. Klopp's style, once seen as a test, became a mirror for Szoboszlai's work ethic and mentality. He didn't just fit in, he stood out. His link-up play with Mohamed Salah was instinctive and sharp. His understanding with Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right flank added depth and unpredictability to Liverpool's attack. Szoboszlai brought the vision of a classic playmaker, the lungs of a box-to-box midfielder, and the leadership presence of someone far older than 22. Pundits who once questioned the signing quickly changed their stance. Some even dared to compare him to Steven Gerrard, Liverpool's legendary captain. It was a massive comparison, heavy with expectation, but Dominik didn't shy away. He welcomed the pressure and kept performing. More importantly, he didn't let praise derail his focus. Off the pitch, he remained grounded. Interviews showed a humble young man, uninterested in stardom for its own sake. He spoke about learning, improving, and doing the hard work. Fans loved him not just for his skills, but for his mentality. He wasn't flashy for clout. He was all football, all business. Back in Hungary, his transformation was just as celebrated. Once doubted, now he was seen as a symbol of national pride. At just 22, he was given the captain's armband for the Hungarian national team. It wasn't just a footballing gesture, it was symbolic. A country long starved of success had finally found a leader who embodied the new generation's hunger and belief. The responsibility was enormous. Hungary had spent decades in football obscurity, far removed from their golden era. Expectations were now heavy and personal, but Szoboszlai didn't run from it. He leaned into the weight of national hope and raised his game. Under his leadership, Hungary secured qualification for their third straight European Championship, not through luck or defensive football, but by dominating qualifiers with style and precision. The standout moment came against Montenegro when Szoboszlai scored two crucial goals. It wasn't just about numbers, it was about tone setting. His performance was a statement, a message to the world that Hungary was no longer an underdog and that he was no longer a prospect. He had arrived. Those who once questioned his decision to leave Hungary as a teenager now saw that move for what it truly was, a courageous leap that changed everything. The injury that kept him out of Euro 2021, it had once raised doubts, but his comeback and leadership since have proven that sometimes patience writes the better story. Dominik Szoboszlai's journey isn't just about proving people wrong, it's about proving what's possible when ambition, humility, and obsession collide. His path is built on bold decisions and relentless consistency. And the truth is, he's just getting started. At this point, there's very little left to question. Szoboszlai isn't just a talented player, he's a national icon, a cultural figurehead, and a reason for Hungary to believe again. In a nation used to heartbreak, he represents hope. On the pitch, he plays with poise and maturity, yet with the hunger of someone who still feels he has everything to prove. That balance, experience with youthful drive, is what makes him magnetic. Watch him play, and you see it in every touch, precision, power, and purpose. From long-range rockets to subtle flicks under pressure, he elevates the rhythm of any match. But beyond the stats and highlight reels, it's the intangibles that define him. His leadership, his timing, his calm under pressure. He doesn't need to talk himself up. His game speaks volumes. And when he does speak, it's direct, calm, and focused, never arrogant. It's clear he's not chasing fame. He's chasing something bigger, legacy. Now, comparisons to Ferenc Puskás, Hungary's greatest football icon, don't feel far-fetched. Szoboszlai might play a different role, in a different era, but the emotional connection is the same. Like Puskás once did, Dominik gives Hungarians something to believe in. He doesn't carry the nation's hopes like a burden. He wears them like armor. Many people doubted he'd come this far. Even fewer believed he could lead at the highest levels. But Szoboszlai has a habit of turning skepticism into silence. Not by talking back, but by showing up when it counts. Cross-field switches under pressure. Pinpoint assists through tight defenses, blistering volleys from distance, these are his answers. Every challenge he's faced, injuries, critics, crushing expectations, has only sharpened his mindset. They haven't broken him, they've refined him. Szoboszlai today is more than just Liverpool's midfield maestro or Hungary's captain. He's a case study in how to turn pressure into performance. And while he's already achieved so much, it's that constant hunger, that desire to grow, to lead, and to lift, that makes you believe the best is still yet to come. Wearing the captain's armband for Hungary, Dominik Szoboszlai has redefined what it means to lead under pressure. For a nation that had wandered the margins of European football for decades, he has become more than just a skilled player. He has become a symbol of direction, belief, and resurgence. And perhaps more importantly, he's become a source of hope. His influence goes far beyond match days. In Hungary, his rise has sparked a full-blown football revival. Young kids now fill the streets of Budapest donning Szoboszlai's iconic number 10 jersey, imitating his goals and dreaming of following in his footsteps. Fathers who lived through the disintegration of Hungary's football legacy in the 90s now watch alongside their sons, feeling something they haven't in years, belief. Each Szoboszlai goal isn't just a number on the scoreboard, it's a spark reigniting national passion that had long flickered out. But while his impact on Hungary is deeply emotional, his journey at Liverpool Football Club is no less remarkable. When Liverpool triggered his £60 million release clause, the football world took notice. And not all reactions were enthusiastic. Many questioned the move. Was he really worth such an investment? The Premier League is known for its pace, power, and brutality, especially in the midfield, where time and space are rare luxuries. Could Szoboszlai cope? Could he adapt to a team built on speed, pressing, and tactical precision? One man had no doubt, Jurgen Klopp. And when Klopp places faith in a player, it's not just about skill, it's about mentality, character, and the ability to grow into leadership. From the very first whistle of his debut, Szoboszlai began proving why Klopp had backed him. He didn't wait for comfort to set in. He took control. There was no transition period, no hesitancy. He pressed hard, covered ground with intensity, and handled the ball with such elegance that it immediately looked like he belonged. Whether it was a sweeping diagonal ball across the pitch, a clever 1-2 in tight space, or a fearless dribble through traffic, his decisions were sharp, fast, and daring. Each touch revealed confidence, each movement echoed control, then came the goals. And they weren't just scrappy finishes, they were statements, long-range thunderbolts, composed strikes from the edge of the area, clever runs timed to perfection. He wasn't merely fitting into Liverpool's system, he was becoming its heartbeat. In many ways, Szoboszlai became a key architect in Liverpool's transitional era, as the club reshaped its identity following the exits of stalwarts like James Milner, Jordan Henderson, and Fabinho. He didn't just replace names in the lineup, he redefined roles, bringing a mix of old-school work rate and modern tactical intelligence. But what sets Szoboszlai apart isn't just how he plays, it's the way he plays. There's a joy, a raw love for the game that shines through his every movement. He plays like someone who still remembers kicking the ball in his hometown alleyways, dreaming of days like these. You see it when he celebrates, with arms wide, eyes lit up, and a grin that breaks through his competitive intensity. He hasn't forgotten where he came from, and he never takes any of it for granted. Off the pitch, that same groundedness carries through. In interviews, Szoboszlai speaks with remarkable clarity and maturity. When asked about critics, he doesn't respond with spite. He responds with perspective. He acknowledges every headline that questioned him, every online comment that doubted his ability. And rather than run from it, he uses it. It fuels me, he says, and it shows. Where some players carry their critics like emotional baggage, Szoboszlai carries them like firewood. He uses them to stay warm, to stay hungry, to stay focused. He hasn't forgotten the lonely birthdays in Austria when the dorm walls felt cold and silent. He hasn't forgotten the frustration of watching RB Leipzig games from the sidelines, injured and overlooked. He hasn't forgotten the labels, the doubts, the predictions that he'd fall short. And so now, every successful pass, every crunching tackle, every goal that rips the back of the net, it's all a quiet reply to every person who once said he won't make it. Because Szoboszlai knows the cost of chasing something great. He knows the sacrifices, the missed holidays, the friendships he had to leave behind, the comfort zones he shattered. He didn't take shortcuts. He took the hard road, and now he walks it with pride. At Liverpool, he's more than just another promising signing. He's an integral part of the club's new foundation. As Liverpool enters its next era under Klopp, Szoboszlai has quickly become one of its most important figures, not just on the field, but in the dressing room, in the culture, and in the vision moving forward. Every performance of his now feels like a piece of a bigger picture, a blueprint for the club's future, built around hunger, humility, and heart. Back in Hungary, his role has only grown more powerful. He is no longer just a young prodigy or future star. He is the present, the leader, the pulse of the national team. When he steps up for a free kick, the entire country holds its breath. When he speaks to the media, people listen, not just to his words, but to the tone, the intention behind them. Szoboszlai speaks like a man with a plan and a mission. In a world where young athletes often lose themselves in fame, Dominic has kept his compass straight. He knows what he wants, and he's building it brick by brick. He isn't in a rush to grab headlines. He's focused on crafting a legacy. There are titles to win, trophies to chase, records to break, but Dominik Szoboszlai understands something many don't. The journey is just as important as the destination, and if the past is any indication, he'll get there. Not by being the loudest voice in the room, but by being the most relentless presence on the pitch. To the ones who once labeled him overrated, who wrote him off as just another overhyped wonder kid, Dominik Szoboszlai doesn't need to say a word. He doesn't tweet back. He doesn't drop motivational sound bites. He simply steps onto the pitch game after game and lets the football do the talking. Every touch, every run, every goal, that's the reply. Not in interviews, but in 90-minute statements played out on grass. He doesn't need to shout to be heard. He just performs. There's a special kind of beauty in how subtle his success has been. It's not loud or flashy in the way some stars demand attention. It's quiet, but powerful. His triumphs don't explode like fireworks. They unfold with rhythm, with focus, with the steady hand of someone who understands that true greatness is built, not gifted. Szoboszlai is the embodiment of action over hype. No dramatic celebrations, no chest-thumping declarations, just consistent brilliance week in and week out, and the world has taken notice. The voices that once doubted him, they've gone quiet. The critics, now watching closely. The sarcasm that once filled comment sections and headlines has been replaced with genuine curiosity and slowly with admiration, because something has changed. Now, when Szoboszlai lines up for a match, people tune in, not to see if he'll fail, but to witness how he'll shine. And the best part? The story is still in its early chapters. At just 23 years old, Dominik Szoboszlai's journey is far from complete. In fact, it feels like it's only just beginning. There are still many goals to be scored, many nights left under the floodlights, and countless more moments when he'll make the extraordinary look effortless. He has evolved from a prospect into a professional, from a hopeful talent into a central figure, and with every match, he adds another brick to a legacy being built on resilience, hard work, and undeniable class. And for those who remain skeptical, those who still hesitate to believe, he offers just one message. It's not a boast, it's not a warning, it's a truth earned through everything he's overcome. Doubt me at your own risk. The laughter that once greeted his name, the chuckles in backrooms, the memes, the media digs, has turned to silence, and then to applause. And maybe that's the most meaningful victory of all. Not the medals, not the stats, but the shift in how people see him. From underdog to leader, from the boy with big dreams to the man carrying a nation's hopes with calm confidence. This isn't just a footballer's rise, it's a transformation. It's about turning disbelief into belief, skepticism into inspiration. This is no longer just a personal journey, it's the early foundation of a legacy. Dominik Szoboszlai, once overlooked, now undeniable, is proving that belief, when matched with action, is unstoppable. And while his boots may be planted firmly on the pitch, his impact reaches far beyond it. The world of football, in all its drama, doubt, and unpredictability, is better for having him in it. And here's the truth. He's only just begun.